What's happening, everyone? I'm Sir James from Gamerfuzion.com, and today I'm here to provide you with my review for Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate on the PlayStation Vita. Now, the way the story breaks down is quite simple, is that in the very beginning of the game, you are attacked by this massive creature known as the Hydra, and of course the battle does not turn well, and when all hope is lost, time suddenly stops when this mysterious goddess appears and explains that with the appearance of the Hydra, humans won't stand a chance, everyone's going to lose. But she did come up with a solution where she's able to take you back in the past, back in time, to save people who have died from previous battles. And by changing this past and bringing everyone together to the future, we can stop the Hydra once and for all. And that way we have a world to look forward to in the future. So that is basically where the story goes from there, is that you're going to be going back in time. People who have died from past wars, you're going to be saving, bringing back to life. And of course, coming together for the future to face this Hydra. That is the main threat, and that's where the story is going to take you. Starting off with the graphics, visually this game is really nice looking on the PlayStation Vita. I would say it's a bit better looking than Dynasty Warriors Next, which was also a Vita title. Now I do apologize because the video you're seeing on screen will not be able to properly display the picture quality quite well, but in person the game is really nice looking. There's a lot of detail with all the different characters featured into the game. The level designs are really good, so if you're familiar with games like Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors, you'll have an idea in terms of how visual the game will be. Of course, it's not going to look as good as the current gen console version of the game, but as I said, it does look a bit better comparing it to another Vita title such as Dynasty Warriors Next. Now, as for the gameplay, this is where things get pretty much simple. If you play Dynasty Warriors or Samurai Warriors, then the combat mechanics are to be pretty much exactly the same. They did have an addition where if you actually get together with your party members or other officers that you have a strong bond relationship with, you could actually perform a special attack, not just your standard special attack. It's where you have 3 officers that come together and perform a triple special attack that annihilates all the enemies within the area, and of course does heavy damage or annihilates officers within the area. It's something really cool to see, and it's nice to use quite often, especially when you lure enemies into a larger group and you just watch your kill-death ratio increase for the game. Now, besides that, there's also other things to do in the single player aspect. One is that you can level up your character and you have promotion optionals. For example, when you have a character that reaches level 100, you can actually promote them. By doing that, they actually reset to 0. However, they also learn a new trait and a new ability, which they could do. Each character has about 3 different promotional options that you can do. So the fact that this game has a ton of characters, that is something to do in terms of replay value. Of course, besides that, you also have your base camp, which is pretty much what you're going to use, where you can interact with characters, build a bond and relationship. And the better bond and relationship when you have with these different characters, they're going to perform better, and of course they're also going to help you a lot better during the battlefields, and which will allow you to come together to perform these triple special attacks, which can be used by in base camp. Once you unlock it, they have an option where you could have like a banquet. You know, there's like 3 different ones, like 3 types of parties. You could have a small party where it just builds up a tiny bit of a relationship. You have a medium portion, kind of like a tea party thing, and then you have a huge banquet where all of these members get together, and it helps build up a huge momentum. However, there is a limit that they could go up to, because once they reach that limit, you actually have to fight alongside them if you want to take the relationship status in terms of the brotherhood up a notch. So it's a really nice thing to do, especially to kind of go back, mix and match different characters. Now, of course, you also have your weaponsmith, which you can go and buy and sell your different weapons that you don't want or weapons that you want to get. And of course, you also have an option for weapon fusion. Now, weapon fusion is when you take a weapon and let's say there's another weapon that has an attribute that you want, because you already have a strong, powerful weapon, but you want that attribute out of the other one. By using weapon fusion, you could take that attribute, combine it into your weapon, and thus you'll have something a bit more powerful. So for example, let's say I have a weapon where I have already all 8 of my attributes filled up. However, I found another weapon that has a +5 ice, basically a +5 additional ice. I already have ice ability, but you could stack that up. So I could take that +4 or 5 and stack it to my current one, and that's a form of weapon fusion, which will make your weapons a lot stronger Now, besides the single player option, there is other things to do. There is a free mode, which the free modes have always been available. Basically, in free mode, you can go back, replay any of the missions that you've already unlocked in story mode, and basically, if you happen to lose or your officers die and whatnot, it's not going to affect your main story. If your officers die in the main story, it does affect it slightly, but here in free mode, no matter what happens, it's not going to affect your main story. You can level up your character some more, so it's kind of a nice way to level up your characters. You also have another mode that's basically like a challenge mode, like a duel mode, where it's you and your party members against an opponent, either an AI or online player. That's right, there is online available. You basically do these forms of duels, and you could actually unlock cards in the single player, which will kind of give you a slight advantage on the battlefield. So of course the main mode here is the first team to become victorious will be the main winners, and same with free mode. Free mode, there is an online option available, so if you want to get together with a friend and play, either if they're sitting close to each other, or you could play over the PlayStation Network, which is nice because not everyone has a friend that has a Vita next to them, so you can play over the network with the cooperative play, or especially taking on some of the harder levels, because the game does get harder and harder as you go on. There's another mode, it's almost like a level editor, but not exactly. You could actually go and edit a few different things. For example, you can edit the quotes in which the characters will say. You could change the outcome of what kind of allied forces are you. I mean, do you have wolves as your ally? Do you have ninjas? Do you have archers, gunsmen, things like that? What kind of allied forces will the opponents have? And of course, what would be the neutral forces? And of course, you could add like little wacky sound effects. So it's basically a little mode just kind of mess around with and have a little fun. And of course, after that, there's also a gallery mode in which you can go and view all the different images that you've unlocked throughout the game, such as wallpaper. And of course, you also have a video gallery, so you can actually go and replay some of the videos that you've unlocked during the single player campaign. But overall, this is an ultimate edition, so there's just a ton of content for this game, and it's really enjoyable. But the gameplay was well solid, and one of the nice things that people may be concerned about is how's the lag issue with the Vita. And I gotta say, there was not a big lag concern at all. There was at least a couple moments where the game did slow down slightly. For example, when I had a ton of officers on screen just outbursting their special attacks all at once. And another moment is when the enemies sent out their horsemen out after me. But after that, like I said, the slowdown was a bit minor. It's not game breaking. It's not to the point where I just want to make you turn it off. It's just slightly noticeable, but it happens really quick. But other than that, about 98% of the time, the game is going to be running butter smooth, even with the amount of enemy units on screen. As for the sound aspect for this game was really well done. Now for the soundtrack, what's nice about it is because this has a collab of multiple games. You got Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors, you got characters from Dead or Alive, you got characters from Ninja Gaiden, and I gotta say, with the soundtrack added into this game, there's a huge list of the amount of music that is available, and it's really awesome to listen to during battle. Not only that, of course, the characters in terms of, is it English or Japanese, all the audio is done in Japanese, so there's no English option at all for those of you who are hoping for that. It's all in Japanese, but with the soundtrack and the voice acting in the game, it was probably one of the best sounding Vita games I've heard in quite a while. As for the lifespan, what kind of lifespan do I see for this game? Well, I gotta say this game has a huge lifespan because there's just so much to do, especially if you enjoy these type of games, franchises that you've played before, then you know these always have a great lifespan. Like I said, there's just a ton. I'm not even sure the amount of characters, but there's a ton of characters available, and you got characters from Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors, Dead or Alive, Ninja Gaiden. I mean, you just have a collab of a ton of different characters in the game that you can level up to 100, promote them, learn a new skill and attribute. Like I said, each character can be promoted at least twice. So by doing that, yeah, you're going to be there for quite a long time. If that is something you're into it, trying to make sure everyone is 100%, then yeah, you're going to be here for quite a while. The fact that it also features online mode on the PlayStation Vita is a well addition, especially going back to play with your friends, performing combos, trying out new things, especially in the creative mode side of the game or the duel side, trying to see who's going to be the better player. Just overall, there's a lot to do, there's a lot of replay value for the game, so definitely something you might want to look into. As for the innovation, this is really hard for me to put together because I've never played the past Warriors Orochi titles, so I don't know if the past games for this franchise featured a mixture of other games into one, if they already had these type of characters before, if the triple attack has been something that's been there in the past titles. That I don't really know. If it has been, then of course they probably improved that. If not, then that would be the innovation there. But anyways, besides the point, this game is a lot of fun. If you're looking for a nice game to add to your PlayStation Vita collection, then this is definitely a must-have. With online support, with a ton of things to do, you're going to find yourself replaying this game quite a long time. Anyways, in the end, I give Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate on the PlayStation Vita a 9 out of 10. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave that in the comment section down below. Anyways, I'm Sir James from Gamerfuzion, and as always, Gamerfuzion empowers your gaming.